Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much. Welcome to the River Cruising Masterclass. Today we are with Kelly, and she's going to be talking about scenic river cruises. If you have not heard of them before, they are definitely a luxury elevated experience. They're known as the Star Class Fleet, and they have butlers for your guys' balcony rooms, and they have all kinds of fun things. I don't want to sell the ship to you because Kelly is here to tell us all about it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sydney, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Me too. I was going to say, so I guess not that I have kind of started my sales pitch because I think the scenic experience is something that is definitely not to be missed. What is that like quick overview of the Scenic brand? Like what makes it, special and unique?
So, Scenic is an elevated experience. It's truly an all-inclusive experience. And just to go back in history, we're Australian owned and operated, and our
Oh,
owner had a tour company, and he started building river cruise ships in the early 2000s when he noticed river cruising was becoming popular. So he builds all these beautiful ships. He's put some innovations into these ships, and he wanted his guests to step on board and not have to take out their credit card. So basically, everything is included. And so it's just a really lovely experience. It's the all inclusive includes the gratuities, the transfers, all the alcohol, all the shore excursions, special events, butlers, laundry service. Really is a wonderful inclusive experience. And we have butlers for every stateroom too.
oh,
So
it's not just the balconies. It's this. You see, I had a butler once, and I may have taken advantage of the situation.
it's easy to do.
As I said, I'm made for the luxury life. I am the typical client that everyone is like, she's got champagne taste on a beer budget. To say, well, luckily, I mean, not to toot your guys' own horn, but you guys are having an amazing friends and family discount right now, sale right now. So there are some amazing opportunities if you're interested in a scenic cruise in 2025 that you could hit up for sure.
Oh, we're having some great deals, 75% off.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
I saw some that was like 2,600 out the door to do the Danube or the Rhine. And I was like, how can I rearrange my schedule for this?
It's crazy. If anybody can get away and in 2025, there's some great deals to be had.
I think so as well. I was gonna say, so I don't think I've ever asked you this. What brought you to Scenic? Like what, how, your story around it, I guess.
Well, I've worked in river cruising. I worked in for the American River Cruising, which is kind of
Oh,
my
okay.
start. I've worked for other
Yeah.
cruise lines. I worked for the large brands as well. I worked for another river cruise, and I just think Scenic is just a step above. And the river cruising and the experience, we really have great guest satisfaction rates, and our crew is amazing. Our crew comes back year after year. And so it just is an amazing brand. It's an amazing product. We really put our heart and soul into our river cruises. We're a boutique brand. So we're not this big brand that sends out mailers every week. We really
I
like to
have 6 in my mailbox right now.
we like to put that money into our ships, so
Right.
and into our service. So it's just a different experience.
Yeah, and so for those who don't know, I'm gonna say 90% of all river cruises are the exact same width and length because they have to get through the locks, which are really interesting. If you've never done, or if you've done the Panama Canal, I think it's even better. Like I've done the Panama Canal, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's similar to the locks in Europe." I like the locks in Europe better. It feels so much more intimate, and I know it's a huge ship, a bigger ship that goes through them, but I find it so interesting to go through the locks on a river cruise. But with that, because you guys only have 150 people on average on board your ships, and you're using that extra space for larger rooms, for more things on board. Like I know you guys have like a spa area and things like that as well.
Yes, some of these ships don't have a spa.
Okay.
They don't have, not our ships do, but some
Right,
of
your
the
ships. I was
ships.
gonna say, I was like, I could have swore your
Yeah,
ship.
no, our ships do, but not all river ships do
Correct.
have those amenities. But
Yeah.
it's very important for our guests to have a gym on board, to have a spa on board, to have multiple dining venues on board. That's really important for our guests. and to have larger staterooms.
Yeah.
So a lot of these ships, as you mentioned, are the same size, but what they do is they put more staterooms and the staterooms are smaller. So ours are a really nice size. They're about 235 square feet for your standard balcony, which is really nice.
That is, and that's not including the balcony space too, right? That's just the room itself.
That's just the room itself. And then there's the sun lounge as
Yeah.
well, which is really nice. We call it our, excuse me, our all-weather lounge.
Okay.
So it can be used during the colder months. And what makes it really nice because um, it's a lot of river cruise have the French balcony. So you pull the sliding door open and you have this little space to stand there, and it's really not very useful. And then if you have a step-on balcony in the colder months, because a lot of times people take the Christmas markets and so forth, you can't use the balcony because it's too cold outside. So our balcony is actually built into the stateroom. There's a glass partition if you want to partition it off,
Yeah.
but it really elongates that space and really creates this really nice atmosphere with floor to ceiling windows. And you just push a button and that window drops down and you have your stateroom there, and there's nice chairs, and the butler can bring you coffee in the morning and breakfast, and you can just sit and watch the world go by. But
I love that. I know the modern technology is so amazing how you can just do the Juliet windows like that. I think that's so cool. Now, so on to like the scenic experience. What are those like signature experiences that you're gonna get with a scenic river cruise?
So we do every cruise, it's called our Scenic Enrich program. And we take our guests out to a special event. So, for example, in Avignon, we'll close down the Pope's Palace and we'll have dinner or we'll have cocktails and we'll have a concert that's just for our guests. When I was in Belgrade, this past March, we had a concert
So
at
sad I
St.
missed it.
Sava's. Yeah, it was amazing. And this church was amazing. It's a fairly new church that they completed, and we had a concert, a private concert there. And this gentleman sang so beautifully. He sang Ave Maria. I thought I was going to cry. It was absolutely amazing. It was such a highlight.
Oh my gosh.
In Vienna, we'll have our own private concert at a location where Mozart played. And what's interesting is our concert is private. All the other river cruise ships, they go to one venue, so they're all together.
Yeah.
Ours is just exclusive for our guests, which makes it really special, and it's always a highlight.
Definitely. That's like the difference of like, being with like history versus like being in history, right? So being able to do that exclusive experience really like connects you to those experiences so much more.
Yeah, it's really a highlight. We do it every cruise. We'll do different events every cruise. And we have folks over in Europe that are called journey makers because we were a tour operator. So that's all they do is plan excursions for our guests in these special events. So they're always really a highlight.
Of course. Okay, so I guess that'll kind of take us to like a day in the life of, right? So river cruising, I always say like it has the cruising in the name, but like imagine it as a floating hotel. The best part is you get to experience all these places. You don't have to worry about like, okay, there's no motion sickness, but like what is that perfect day in a life of for that scenic
So it's like your floating hotel, basically, when you're on a river cruise. And you go into these small towns and ports that you might not have seen if you were on a motor coach, if you were driving. So you see a part of these countries that are unique. And you dock and port right in these cities. So you just walk off and you get to explore. And how it all happens. So the cruise director really sets expectations and informs the guests every night at dinner, prior to dinner, and will give the rundown of what they're going to see the next day. The guests can sign up for these excursions on board. They can sign up for a few of them prior. And then the next morning, off guests go to their excursions. We offer several different excursions every day. And I think we really excel at our excursions. I have been told by multiple guests that we go to places no other river cruise goes to. We do a lot of home visits. We do, for example, I was in Bratislava and we had coffee and cake with a Bratislava family, and I was petting her cat. And she was telling me about her kids and showing me pictures about her kids. It truly is an amazing experience to connect with people in
Yeah.
these towns and cities. And we always try to do that, which I think is really unique.
That's something that you don't really think about. And first hand, you're like, do I want to? But at the same time, like being able to talk to someone local and building that, like understanding what they've done and how they've created their life here in this, other country is so interesting.
It is, and it's a very popular item that we do.
Yeah.
And the guests really enjoy the home visits and the more cultural immersive experiences.
Bet. Because I know on top of that, like all of your guys' excursions are included. I think there's like maybe one that might be extra, but for the most part, almost everything, as we talked about before, like with Scenic, they don't want your credit card because there's not going to be anything that you have to pay for.
Every excursion is included.
Ah, that's so nice because that's one of those things where I always think of it as like, I've budgeted all of this. And so the only thing that I want to have to worry about afterwards is all of the stuff I'm going to buy.
We have a cute little gift shop area, which has
Oh.
some really nice jewelry.
There you go. My mom and I went on a river cruise. Unfortunately, it wasn't Scenic, and they did not have a gift shop. And when I tell you, it was one of the highlight, the critics of my mom was like, there wasn't a gift shop on board. I don't know.
Yeah, but to buy a few trinkets.
Trinkets on board. Like, I didn't have anything. And so some people really enjoy that. And that's something that brings them a lot of joy. And so I'm like, I will make sure no matter what, we're going to go on Scenic and we're going to get you, your gift shop. It's just the little things.
Exactly. Right. Right.
I was gonna say, so now that we've talked about like the day, right? So you have those excursions, and since you're a tour operating company, you're working directly with these, so there's no additional middlemen involved. You
No.
have those connections, which I think is great. So now that we're to go back on board, what does that like, dining look like? What does that look like for you guys on Scenic? What is your guys' focus on that part?
Well, the dining is amazing. We've won awards for our dining. So, our chefs really do a fantastic job. And what's really interesting is we have several different venues on
Oh,
board for dining, which is truly unique in that river
yeah.
cruise space. So for the kitchen that we have several galleys and all the different menus that they prepare. It's pretty amazing. So we have our main dining room, the crystal dining room. Then we have portobellos or lamores when we're in France. So it's Italian. Portobello's is Italian, Lamores is French.
French
So
can't have anything
I know,
Italian.
right? So when we're in France, we have a different name for it. Then we have to have French cuisine while we're in
Of
France.
course, of course.
But on the Rhine, the Danube, for example, it's portobello's and it's Italian. And every guest gets invited to this experience. So they'll receive a really nice invitation in their rooms. And they have this really lovely elevated experience. It's about 5 to 6 courses paired with wine.
See, I love it. Continue.
And then if you're in a suite, the suite level guests have a chance to experience La Rive. And this is a table of 10. We do it twice a cruise, and it takes the chef a week to prepare the menu.
What?
It is absolutely amazing. I got to experience it for the first time this past March. It's about 2.5 hours. It's a little more involved, but all the wine is paired with all the different menu items, and it's very involved. It's very elaborate. There's smoke. There's some other things that are involved in the menu, but it's just really a fun experience. It's really a highlight for our guests. Then we don't want you to go hungry. So
It's not going to happen, but continue.
if guests don't want to eat in the crystal dining room for lunch and dinner, we do have a really nice spread in the lounge area. And it's not just sandwiches and soup, it's entrees and desserts. And it's a really nice spread that we put out. And then we have the River Cafe, which is our little deli. So if you're not getting enough
Another one?
food,
Where are all these going in this cruise ship? My goodness.
so if you're not getting enough food, that's opened all the time, so you
Yeah.
can have a little snack or a dessert. And they make really great cookies.
Don't tell me that. I always like to think that if I'm going to Europe, I'm going to lose weight because I'm just going to be walking all the much, but not on a scenic cruise.
No, there's plenty of food on a scenic cruise.
I love it. Oh my God. Okay. So we talked a little bit before about like those guest stories, but do you have any highlights about just like guests and what they've experienced on a scenic cruise?
Well, I've had guests talk about their butlers, and a lot of times you don't know what to do with your butler, but they provide many services. So they provide laundry service. So we do include 2 pounds of laundry per cabin. So
Love it.
they'll do that for you. They'll bring you breakfast in the morning. We have room service as well. So if you want to have dinner
That's
in your
unique as
room,
well. It's very rare to find on a river cruise.
they'll bring you room service. They'll bring you coffee. But I did hear a story from a guest, and I guess it was a muddy day, and she came back, and her boots were all muddy, and she had them sitting in her stateroom, and the butler took them, cleaned them up, shined them up, and brought them back to her, and they were like brand new.
Awesome, without even asking, which is so nice because it's like you don't want to be inconvenient or like, take advantage, but it's so great to like be able to have that and that again, the employees just caring so much about that service and making sure that trip is amazing for those guests.
They really do. They really anticipate what the guests' needs are. So yeah, it just really makes it an enjoyable experience.
So, what's ahead for Scenic? So, what are you guys, working on? Are there any new? I heard about, I think, some ships that are being built, right? Or
Well, we have ships being built on our Emerald cruises.
oh, okay, Emerald.
Yeah, we don't have any new ships on Scenic, but what we're doing is renovating the ships. So we redid all the lounge areas on every one of our ships. So our ships aren't that old. I mean, we came out in 2009 and have been building ships almost every year. But we wanted to refresh the look and feel. And it's really beautiful. It kind of has a Zen feeling, particularly at night when the lights are lowered, and it's a really beautiful feel. And some of the fabrics that our owner's wife chose, because she's very involved in the interior decor.
Love a family business though, and that's so
It
nice.
is. I love that. And the fabrics, it's really interesting is that the money that when you purchase these fabrics goes back to conservation of animals.
Oh,
So it just really
wow.
is a really unique experience.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, I mean, you guys have a very, it's not small because obviously you guys have a lot of ships, but you guys have a great like fleet that does a lot of different areas. I was gonna say, what would you say is your favorite scenic route that's out right now?
Gosh, they're all so
I
different.
I know, I know. I'm throwing you under the bus with that one.
Yeah, they're all so different, and you go to all these different and unique places. And gosh, usually the Rhine or the Danube are your typical first river
Right.
cruises
Yeah.
because you see so much. You see four capital cities when you're on the Danube, and then the
Yeah.
Rhine, you go into France, Switzerland, Germany. So you see a lot, and there's a lot to see and do on these cruises. So whenever someone asks which cruise should I take, if they've never been on a river cruise, I usually recommend the
Those
Rhine and the
two.
Danube.
Yeah. Because I've been looking at lately is like a lot of the France or also adding to the Rhine and doing the Moselle. That is something that looks really interesting to kind of like add to. But yeah,
That's a beautiful area. It's a beautiful wine region. It's overlooked sometimes. A lot of river cruise companies don't sail to the Moselle. And what's really nice about our itinerary is that we include the Moselle with the Rhine,
yeah.
so you get the best of both. And it was interesting because we did take out the Moselle River, and then we got a lot of requests of guests wanting to go to the Moselle. So we put the
Yes.
Moselle back in because it is pretty popular.
Yeah, I've seen some of the photos and it looks absolutely gorgeous to kind of just do that additional piece to it. Um, Before I let you go, which I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Scenic. What would you think? I mean, we've talked about so much, so you can go back to them. Is that little known fact about like, Scenic that would like surprise or inspire someone on their first one? And I will be using this answer because I have some clients going on a Scenic river cruise next month and they are so excited.
Oh, wow. So what would surprise them about
Yeah,
scenic?
like
Is that
surprise or inspire or get them so excited. Like, what are those? We've talked about so many unique things that are Scenic exclusives.
I just think, I have to say, we have beautiful ships, and obviously the hardware that we provide is amazing. I mean, our owner puts a lot of thought into our ships. However, I really think it's our crew.
Oh, yeah.
And those are the comments that I get all the time is our crew, because we have our crew returns year after year. A lot of times they'll return back to the same river, so they know that river well. And so I really give kudos to our crew because they really enhance the guest experience. And I hear more comments about them when guests return. So I think if you have clients on board, enjoy the crew, enjoy the butlers. They want to help. They want to make sure that your guests and your clients have a wonderful experience.
Thank you. Yeah, I know. I have a client who he said that what he told his, butler is that he wanted like vodka soda at 5 p.m. when he got back to the ship after doing all his walking. And so that's one of the things he did is so he could just be like, I just want to relax as soon as I get on board. And so those are some of those fun things that you can do with the butler as well.
Right, right. Yeah. It's really, they're there to help. When I was last on, it was kind of interesting because the butler came, I was having coffee in my room, and he's like, "Do you not want breakfast?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to bother you with breakfast." He goes, "No, no, no, no. Let me go get you something." And so he brought me breakfast and I had my coffee, and it was just really a lovely experience. So they really aim to please. They really want to create that wonderful experience for our guests.
I love that so much. Well, thank you again, Kelly, so much for coming on the River Cruising Masterclass and talking about Scenic. I'm so excited to be able to continue to sell your product. It is absolutely amazing. For those of you who do have questions about river cruising, please don't hesitate to like send me a DM or email me at sydney@thepoodlebooked.com and I will love to help you out. But thanks again, Kelly, so much.
Thanks so much, Sydney. I hope
All
to
right.
see you on a cruise.
I will be there before you know it. Don't worry. All right. Thank you.